I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero. With fearless thoughts, emotions swirled, I wanna be the man that saves the world. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
And welcome to the ACR ISI Academy Series at GPVWC. We are here at COTA, the Circuit of the Americas, located just outside of Austin, Texas. And we are here to bring you some wonderful Academy racing here on the GPVWC Career Ladder Series. And today we have around, I think it was around 20 entries into this race, and it is going to be wheel to wheel and a great development opportunity if you're interested at all in getting involved with GPVWC. These are the races to do it. Joined today, I have Garrett DeVries on running our camera work today and doing a phenomenal job as always. And we have a new broadcaster in the booth today. We have it's Ian. Is it?
It's Ian Berryman, or Mad
Berryman,
Otter.
that's it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Open in front of me, and I'm trying to find the right one there. But yes, Ian Berryman's joining me today. If you've listened or watched Super League, or not Super League, GPVWC Super Cup or Formula Challenge at all, I am Tyler Parker. I am back again and in the Academy slot today with Ian Berryman, and we're going to be taking you through this awesome action here at COTA. Anything to you, Ian? This is going to be your first sort of dipping your toes into the water, so to speak. Anything here that's going to stand out to you that's going to be crucial or critical, or you're just going to be enjoying watching and broadcasting on today at the Academy level?
I think a combination of the two, really. Obviously, this is a learning curve for me to get to know the ropes with you guys, but it's very interesting to sort of see these guys out there. And it's going to be a great opportunity to see who can shine, obviously through qualifying and the race.
Yes, indeed. And I'm going to pull that up right now on our race views. We are actually 10 minutes, a little under 10 and a half minutes into qualifying. And as as there's no doubt there. Liam Duvall, who is a fixture in Super League, doing some fun racing here. And on provisional pole, just right now at a 144.47, setting the fastest laps there. But some other guys who have some really good experience and who I've seen some other sim leagues doing a great job. We have James Pinsker, who does a great job. I think he's affiliated with the ACR team as well. Really good driver there. And Noah Rivers, who's actually just sort of started talking with some of the teams in and around the paddock here. I know Team Rookie Monsters is actually looking at him for a potential to fill the potential second seat, although they are also having an open test for drivers on the 29th and 30th. If anybody is interested there, there's my shameless plug at least for that. But Noah Rivera is sitting in third place at a 146.0, doing a great job there. Some other names I've seen before and have seen perform very admirably are Martin Hemmingsen, who took part, I believe, in the Young Drivers Test at the end of the Super League finale, doing a great job. George Whitehouse, who's got some, I believe, Formula Challenge experience as well. And looking through the list, a lot of new names to be certain as well.
At least I'm not the only new one in the scene then. But no, James Clay is another one I was watching in practice. He looks to have a bit of pace. So and obviously you mentioned George Whitehouse there. I think they're going to be a couple to keep an eye on. But it's going to be interesting to see who can adapt quickly. Because like you say, there's a lot of newbies here, a lot of newcomers to this series. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting qualifying session, definitely.
Yes, indeed. There'll probably be a little bit of a spread between the field, but I'm definitely going to look at how people behave and how people are handling some of the racecraft, because this is what this Academy Series is going to be all about, Ian. And I'm sure you're going to notice this commentating on hopefully all these races for us this year.
I hope
this
so.
Is going to be, this is definitely going to be the area where you can sort of hone your racecraft and sort of familiarize yourself with not only the driving standards that GPVWC tries to instill in its drivers, but also the cars and some of the tracks as well. So that's definitely going to be one of the things that we're going to look at, and we're going to offer our critique on from time to time.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be for any newcomers. I know a few people from my channel, some of my subscribers will be tuning in today, and I think it's a great opportunity for them to see, because we've all seen other leagues, we've all perhaps been part of other leagues, but one of the things that impressed me so far with GPVWC is just the level of attention to detail, and obviously the standard of driving from the drivers, and I think the respect they have for each other out there, I think, is so important. And it's great to see that there are leagues here that are doing this. So yeah, excited to see them out battling each other and seeing that respect.
Yes, definitely. That's what a lot of this is actually built on, is obviously respect for your fellow competitor, but also good fun. And that's what these races are also going to be doing, as we have, we do have a driver who drives at our top level in Liam Duvall out there, and then drivers who have some experience at some other levels. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that, George Whitehouse has had some experience at Formula Challenge level. And I think Karsten Van Eyck is, or Euk, if I'm saying that right. He's had some ITC experience. So we do have a lot of different sort of types of racing here at GPVWC. But this Academy Series is obviously just a great sort of amalgamation or muddling of that to just get experience against some of these other drivers. And it's good to actually have talents like Liam Duvall in here, James Pinsker, and some of the other, more experienced drivers that are out there to sort of gauge the newcomers by, and also have the newcomers sort of have a yardstick for themselves to gauge, where am I on pace? What do I need to improve on? What did I see that this guy did during the race that maybe I can improve on, or I could maybe even extrapolate further and make, use that to my advantage during race.
Absolutely. Like you say, it's a great opportunity for them to come in and learn from some of the best racers. But I'm going to rather selfishly take advantage of that as well and try and learn myself. I was thinking during practice, it'd be interesting for me to go out and do a lap. But looking at some of the times we're getting here, I'm very glad that I'm sat here doing this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there are definitely some guys out there who are certain aliens. I know I do some engineering for one of the teams in Super League, and Liam Duvall was our constant nemesis. It seemed like uh, for a lot of the races. But fair play to Liam. He usually did the right thing and raced this pretty clean and fair. And at the end of the day, it was all good fun. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see what sort of this amalgamation of field, the results that we get out of it.
Yeah, Liam seems to be in a league of his own at the minute. I've just seen George Whitehouse has just popped a time in to get within the second mark, which is, not something anybody else has ever been able to do up till now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, like you say, to see the spread. But I think some of the newer guys have. I always find that when you've got somebody that's perhaps a bit quicker than you, it does bring out the best in you. So again, a good opportunity for them to deal with driving under pressure and really pushing themselves. And I think this is again where the talent really starts to show through. So yeah, let's hope we see some of that today.
As we are going to be wrapping up qualifying in just under 4 minutes here. We'll take you down a provisional run of the field right now. Liam Duvall obviously out front in with a 144.47. George Whitehouse in provisional P2 with a 145.36. James Pinsker with a 145.68, and Martin Hemmingson in fourth place with a 145.97, and Noah Rivers with a 145.998 are your top 5 right now.
So not really a lot in it, really, from third down to just looking, even down to seventh. We're only talking here a matter of a tenth and a half. So still opportunity if they get out for another run there. So hopefully we'll see this mix up a little bit more.
Indeed, and I always like to joke with COTA. The only thing bigger than Texas is the runoffs at COTA, because they are just absolutely huge. And you might also still be able to see the charred remains of Jarl Tyne's car, which we had a Super League race earlier this year, and unfortunately he had a engine expire in spectacular fashion. Coming, if I'm not mistaken, out of the 10th turn there after the long backstretch. But here at COTA, this is a really interesting track and a very diverse track and a good track for drivers to really sink their teeth into, especially if they're new, because it has all the elements that you would see pretty much at any track that we would race at GPVWC. Some more than others, but it's a good I hate to say beginner track, but it's a track that tests all your skills. High speed corners, low speed hairpins, a little bit of slipstreaming drafting and DRS control, sort of rhythm with that sort of slow sector 3 and navigating that. COTA really has it all, and I know it gets slammed. A lot of people are very anti-COTA, but for me, COTA is a really good track to sort of cut your teeth on and really see if you have the mettle to really race with the big boys here in GPVWC.
I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's almost like a modern day Spain. Obviously, that's the track which everybody favours for testing. But yeah, COTA's got it all, like you say. It's got the straights, it's got the high speed, it's got the low speed. So yeah, in many ways, like a more modern version of Barcelona, and a great opportunity for the guy to get the car set up. And it's definitely more of a challenge when you've got so many different types of corner. You've got the big straight, you've got the hairpin, like you say. So a challenge in itself just to get the car stable.
Yes, definitely. And I'll keep going back a little bit here as we're just under a minute, and we'll give you some live updates here. But we've seen all sorts of weather too. Earlier this year when we made our visit earlier this year when we made our visit to COTA in the Career Ladder Series, we saw rain in 2 different races in the Formula Challenge and the Super Cup. And it definitely threw a monkey wrench. Don't think we're going to see any rain here today, but we've got about 30 seconds left, and some drivers are going to be out there trying to set their fastest laps as Aran Van Putten has set his lap and moved up into the top 5. Lewis Bickers seems to be either going out on an out lap or coming in from an in lap. I think it's in. I think he's in the pits right now. But we're going to be definitely seeing whether or not some of these drivers are going to be setting fast laps. Liam Duvall out there just started his last qualifying lap as Aram Van Putten taking another one. And James Penske right now going his fastest in sector one. But Liam Duvall right now has, as time has expired, set the fastest sector two right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say, unless Liam just has a terrible third sector here, he might be on point for that provisional pole position. As is James Clay also setting his fastest lap times in sectors 1 and 2. And there we go. Danny Robbins bumping up there into P4. So he's improved his provisional qualifying spot there. And we'll pull it into the pits. And yeah, Liam Duvall with a 144.4 fastest lap time there. Purpled sector 2 and sector 3 with a high 42 and a mid to low 34. And that will put Liam Duvall most likely up in are on the provisional pole for this round. James Clay able to improve his position up to P3. George Whitehouse, don't know if he's going to be able to actually improve his position. James Pisker now is going to be finishing his lap soon. We'll see if he can improve, setting personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. This is going to be the big one to see if maybe James Pisker can take provisional second place away from George Whitehouse, and unfortunately he is not with a 145.850, unable to improve. That sector 3 seemed to really kill him. So maybe some differing setups there as we're waiting for Oliver Silva, Dennis Ashenko, and I'm going to try and say this, Reinder Henstra. He's pulled into the pits there, and Nikos Anastasopoulos. I believe I said that right. If I don't, please let me know. But Anastasopoulos also finishing up his lap, coming through there on sector 3, as also Dennis Ashenko is going to finish his lap. So we'll wait to see if there's any track cuts, and we'll set the field for you when we grid up. We will probably be having, I think it's a 5-minute warm-up session beforehand. So we will see you guys today or later on in the race.
The FSIM 2.0 features a nose on a sliding rail for on-the-go adjustment, a newly introduced fully adjustable headrest for your comfort. The wheel and pedal boards are fully adjustable, making sure they fit you perfectly and are pre-drilled for all of the latest hardware. The cockpit supports up to triple screen monitor setups without the worry of wobble or vibration. The FSIM 2.0 puts you in the Formula Racing position for that unique driving experience. Head over to iSimRS.com to find out more and pre-order now and get £100 off of the recommended retail price. Only available at iSimRS.com.
And welcome back. We are here after warm up for the GPVWC ISIMRS Academy series presented to you by ACR. And we're just waiting right now for the warm up session to officially get over with. Everything to pass through, and then we will set our official grid for the start of this race. Do one formation lap, set the cars in their grid spots, extinguish those lights, and get to racing. Ian, what do you think? What do you think might be some of the strategies going in here? Because as we've explained, well, we're going to explain to the audience. This Academy series is going to be much more akin to like Formula 3 and or F or GP3 or Formula 3 now, I guess as it's going to be called, to where these cars are going to be basically all spec, and it's going to be down to the drivers to really shine in this series.
Absolutely. I mean, as we were saying, I think setup here is your best friend. It's the only thing you've got to try and give yourself that advantage. But judging by the look of the tires, I think we're looking at the one stop here today. So it's going to be key to see who can make their tires last, who can get the best performance out of them, and obviously try and not cross that cliff and start losing time unnecessarily. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all of the drivers are going to react. Are we going to see patterns, or is somebody going to try something a little different, and will it pay off?
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see if there is something a little bit different done. These drivers are only going to be able to utilize these medium tires, but we will see. Maybe an undercut might be worthwhile here. If I'm remembering, I want to say the pit delta is is not necessarily a huge significant thing in the fact that I want to say our last Super League race we had, obviously on different compound tires and everything, the undercut actually paid a huge dividend where a driver was able to start almost near the back of the field and actually be able to finish up close toward the podium. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was Dennis Jordan who was able to pull that feat off. So that will definitely be interesting is when you come into pit in relation to your competitors as much as when you come into pit as far as the life of the tires.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to give a lot of opportunity for the guys that perhaps didn't do as well in qualifying, but more importantly for the viewers and for us commentating, it's a bit of excitement that if somebody gets that right, they could really pull something special out the bag, and that's going to be very, very interesting to see.
Indeed, it is. As we're, I guess we've moved on, and we're just waiting for the grid to line up here. So I will go ahead and run down the official starting grid right here for the ACR ISI MRS Academy series here presented presented with GPVWC backing here, as we have Liam Duvall on pole position right now. George Whitehouse will be starting P2. James Clay should be provisionally starting P3. James Pinsker P4. Danny Robbins in P5. Aaron Van Putten P6. Martin Hemmingson P7. Lewis Bickers P8. Noah Rivers P9. Rodrigo Carvalho in P10. Karsten Van Eyck in P11. Lubomir Nice in P12. Oliver Silva, P13. Simon Marshall, P14. Simon Clausen, P15. Justin Parkinson, P16. Dennis Eschenko in P17. Randir Henstra in P18. Justin Weebelov, P19. Nikos Anastasopoulos in P20. Jan Pollock, P21. And Alejandro Enamorado in P22, and that will be our full provisional field until the cars are able to grid up.
Yeah, I think the last one has just pulled into position now, so we're going to be waiting for those lights to come on.
Awesome, wonderful. And I'm going to let Ian take y'all through the red lights.
Here we go, all the lights are on, and we are underway, and it looks like Hemingsway's got a fairly decent start because as well, it seems to be defending off into turn one. Has he been successful? Yes, he has. James Clay is in third. Whitehouse, I think he's jumped up to second there, so he's had a very good start. But going down the rest of the field, we are looking nice and neat and tidy. We've had no dramas initially. So, leading the way through turns one, I think we're into about 6 or 7 now, is Wild from Whitehouse, Clay, Putin, Bickers. Hemingsway jumps ahead of Pinsker, so he's just got that move done. A very nice little move there. Robbins in 8th, Ruvers and Isaac is that in 10th place, but there's a bit of dust being kicked up there. And have we got... No, it looks like everybody's been okay. There was some dust. I thought I'd missed a spin, but no, everybody seems to be very, very close. But Putin already giving a lot of pressure to Clay, and we've got somebody running off at the back there. Oh, there's been a crash. There's been a big crash at the back. We've got Parkinson, Edmorado, just Well Beloved and Hestra. They've all come together into the hairpin, so I don't know who caused that, but I just saw it at the back of the screen. But unfortunately for those guys, they've got a lot of time to make up now. But yeah, hopefully they can recover from that. But Liam DeWalt is pulling out a lead already, 1.5 seconds to come around towards the end of the first lap. Whitehouse has stayed in second. Clay is in third. Putin has dropped back and is now getting a little bit of pressure from Hemmingson in 5th place. Pinsker is 6th. Ruvers 7th. Bickers 8th. Robbins in 9th. Nice is 10th, but there's a lot of action going on in the midfield now. We've got Simon Marshall who's dropping back, and we've got another spinner. It's gone away from me. It is, unfortunately, Simon Clausen has had a spin in the second last corner. He was lucky not to collect anybody else there. But Lewis Bickers is up to 8th place now. He's got Robbins behind him, and it looks like we've got a little bit of a battle there between Knight and Izek there. They are very, very close on track, so we'll keep an eye on this one for a second. But not really too much happening through the S. Is obviously not the best overtaking place, but it looks like they're nose to tail as they come through now towards the hairpin, but nothing happening at the minute. But you can see that Izek is dancing all over trying to find a gap anywhere to get ahead of Lubin and Ice. So coming into the hairpin now, he's a little bit too far back now. He hasn't been able to follow probably as closely as he would have liked. But Liam DeWalt is now just over 2 seconds ahead of Whitehouse. Clay and Putin look like they're going to be having a bit of a battle in a minute as they're closing up on each other. And up the inside goes Hemmingson. He didn't make the move stick, but it was a good effort. But Putin's run wide, so that can give Hemmingson a little bit of an advantage. He's on the outside. Can he make that stick? It's going to be difficult to do so. No, he hasn't at the minute. But so he'll settle back in behind Putin, who has a bit of a lock up there. But they are absolutely nose to tail. So I think this is going to be the battle worth watching. It'll be interesting when they get to the pit straight to see whether Hemmingsen can get a good exit out the last corner and get the move on Putin done. He does appear to have the pace over Putin at the minute, but we'll have to see how that one plays out. But just to give you a bit of an update, we've got Wellbeloved is out of this race, as well as Jan Polak with suspension problems. So unfortunate for those guys. But while leads ahead, as we say, and Whitehouse, Clay, Putin is still under pressure from Hemmingsen, but nothing happening at the minute. But we will definitely be keeping an eye on that. But moving back down the field, Ejak and Nice appears to be separated by just half a second at the minute. So, yeah, I think there's going to be some good battles going on in this midfield.
Indeed, I think there will be there, Ian, as I wanted to take a look at that Martin Hemmingsen thing. And yeah, Hemmingsen just under a tenth off there. He's 0.3 back from around Putin. And I think that probably is going to be the biggest battle right now.
Hemmingsen having a look at Putin now. They are side by side as they go on to the back straight. Sorry to jump over you there.
No.
But it looks like he's got an opportunity to finally get ahead of Putin. But just ahead, we've also got Clay and Whitehouse side by side. So it's all action. But Putin stays ahead. And Hemmingsen's off. Hemmingsen is off. I don't think he got touched. He just seemed to catch a bit of grass maybe there, but that's dropped him back now into P6 behind James Pinsker. So he's probably not going to be best pleased about that, but it's going to be interesting to see whether he can work his way back past Pinsker to get back onto the back of Putin. But yeah, it's all action as we've got another spin going on behind. I didn't quite see who it was, but somebody swapped ends coming off of that big straight.
Yeah, that big straight definitely leads into a huge braking zone on the back straight there. That if you get it wrong, it will definitely spin that car right out from underneath you. As Hemmingsen has to be careful now that he's not going to fall into the clutches of Noah Rivers to be certain. As Liam Duvall sets another fast lap, a 145.2, fastest of the race there. And yeah, there's a bit of a disparity between the top end of the field right now. But James Clay giving his all, about 7.5 seconds back to Liam Duvall. Not too far back, George Whitehouse on James Clay there, only 0.3. So that might be an interesting battle to keep our eye on as well.
Absolutely. I'm just watching Hemmingsen again. He is dancing all over the back of James Pinsker. You can see the impatience. I should imagine there's red mist coming out of that visor at the minute. But I don't think he's close enough into the hairpin to have a look. No, not this time around. But looks like Pinsker went a little bit defensive there, so that really could hamper his exit. And yeah, just as we say that, Hemmingsen is all over the back. I think we're going to see a move here as Pinsker moving out slightly. He's not really defending too hard at this point, but we've got Clay and Whitehouse also going side by side. But Hemmingsen sails past James Pinsker, and yeah, his mission now is to get onto the back of Putin, who is having a battle of his own now. He's all over the back of George Whitehouse. So we're going to be having a three-way battle here for the last step of that podium.
Indeed, and Hemmingsen has seemed to recover okay, but Pinsker is going to be running down. I think you might have just said this, Ian, there. Sorry, so if I'm repeating it, but James Pinsker right now is definitely going to be breathing down Martin Hemmingsen's neck. As yeah, you could throw a blanket over the top from second to sixth position right now, and it would be a huge coup if this ends up this way at the end of the race with cars this close to each other.
Yeah, just watching them go down the pitch straight now, as you say, you really could throw a blanket over them. As Whitehouse, I thought he was going to have a little look at Clay into turn one then, but he thought better of it. It would have been a bit of a risky move, but as we come through the S's now, we've got Clay, Whitehouse and Putin, who, to be honest, any one of these makes a mistake and we're going to see positions changing very quickly as there's a lock-up from James Clay. So Whitehouse will be watching this. He will be eagerly watching every little lock-up, trying to find any opportunity where he can take advantage. But coming on in now to the hairpin, this is where we're seeing the overtakes getting started as they get onto this back straight. But Clay's pulled a little bit of a gap there. I don't know. I think Whitehouse may have had a small lock-up through the S's there. But he's now got Putin to worry about because I think, yes, indeed, Van Putin is all over the back of Whitehouse. So can he do anything? I think he needs to be a little bit closer. It could be a bit of a risky move. But coming to the big braking zone now, No, everybody's behaving. Nobody's going for anything silly, which is great to see. But there is definitely action here, and I think this could go on for most of the race.
Well, it's still early in the race, so the silly stuff should hopefully only happen in the last few laps, if any. Uh, but Aaron Van Putten, that first sector there, and again in the second sector here, is roughly 2/10 quicker than George Whitehouse. So George Whitehouse is definitely going to be feeling
Oh,
the
we've got
pressure.
Whitehouse running wide, running massively wide into the second to last corner there. He hasn't lost a position. I don't think he's lost too much time. But yeah, again, Van Puten's going to see that, and he's going to start licking his lips at the chance of getting that third place.
And Van Puten's also going to be having to think, well, I don't want to let I don't want to let George Whitehouse hold me up too much because I really want to take that fight to James Clay, who James Clay, doing his best, is almost 10.5 seconds behind Liam Duvall. First place may be out of question today for anybody else, but definitely want to finish top of the best of the rest, so to speak. And Ron Van Putten is definitely going to be trying to push for that.
Absolutely. I mean, Liam DeWall is just in a league of his own at the minute, isn't he? I should imagine he'll park up, have a cup of tea, and a bit of a chill out in the middle of the race. It's seemingly going very, very well for him. But yeah, just watching Van Putten coming onto the DRS straight now. Hemmingson is, I don't think he's quite close enough again on this occasion. It's incredible how accurate these guys have got to be, and the consistency of them so far to be following this close and being able to sort of deal with the pressure. As Hemming's got a little bit wobbly under the braking there, and yet indeed he has gone wide, but Pinsker is too far back to really capitalize on that, unfortunately for him. But it's just battle of the nerves at this point, and yeah, these guys at the top of their game right now, they really are driving inch perfect, and they've got to.
Indeed. We're going to take a look a little bit farther down the field as we have Noah Rivera's holding strong in second or seventh place right now. Lewis Bickers in eighth, and Luberbeer Nice in ninth place right now, and Carstens Van Eyck in 10th. But Carstens Van Eyck is definitely putting some pressure on Lubermeer Nice, and we'll see if maybe Carstens isn't able to get himself within the single digits as far as place is concerned quite quickly here.
Just watching there, it looked like again for a second that Whitehouse was going to try and put a move on Clay into turn one, but again, thinking better of it. He seems to be a lot less confidence on the brakes than Clay does. Clay definitely seems to be suffering more through the corners, but when it comes to those sort of heavy stopping zones, he seems to, for now, have George Whitehouse covered. But again, it only takes that one tiny lock up, that one little bit of running wide, and that can all change. But we've got a little bit of dust being thrown up again as they run onto the outside of the curbs. But yeah, again, Whitehouse just showing his nose to Clay, not really going for the overtake, but just pulling out and saying, I'm here. But I tell you what, he is much, much closer now as Clay goes defensive, but Whitehouse is going to go around anyway, and he's actually off the track at this point as they go side by side up towards the major braking zone. It looks like Whitehouse has got the move done. Can he keep it tidy under braking? Yes, he can. So that is George Whitehouse up into that second position. And Putin and Hemmingson will have seen this, and they are now going to be thinking that we want to get through as well. And already Putin all over the gearbox, and Clay having to go slightly defensive there. But as I say that, Putin and Hemmingson are side by side. So I think there's no overtaking maneuver happening here. But as they come in towards the end of the lap now, Hemmingson is looking very, very racy. I think having seen Whitehouse get through, he knows that if he wants a chance of that second place, he needs to get ahead and get through these guys now to try and chase down.
Yes, Hemmingson definitely needs to be doing that as well, trying to get by these guys to run these.
Oh, he's pulled out. He's up the inside, and he's lost the back end. And I tell you what, Putin did very well not to hit the back of him. That was a bit heavy on the brakes, a bit too heavy, but he has held the position from Putin at this point. So that's Hemmingson up to fourth and Putin down to fifth. Sorry to jump in on you there.
No. That's totally all right, Ian. You're able to call this a lot better than I am right now, unfortunately. And again, it just seems like we just have had a knockdown drag out from these top three guys basically. Well, the third, fourth, and fifth place at least are on Van Putten, Martin Hemmingson, and James Clay right now, and it's just been one blow derided after another. It seems like every lap.
Absolutely. You'd almost think we were coming to the end of this race and not at the first quarter, but these guys are going for it hard. But Clay's sticking on the back of Whitehouse. I was rather wondering once Whitehouse got through whether he would start to pull away, but Clay's keeping him honest at this point. But Hemmingson has now started to just get a bit of a gap to Van Putten. So it's going to be, I think, the next couple of laps before James Clay is going to have mirrors full of Martin Hemmingson. So that's going to be interesting to see.
Indeed, it will. As we're going to take another look back a little bit farther in the field, and again, we still have Lubomir Nice. Karsten Van Eck has been able to get by Lubomir Nice and move himself up into ninth place. So Karsten Van Eck able to flex his muscles a little bit and put Lubomir Nice back one more position. Just looking a little bit farther back in the field, it seems like there has been some separation. Simon Marshall, running in 12th right now, seems to be about the best of the rest, so to speak. As there is a little bit of a gap, not too far of a gap back to 11th place Danny Robinson from the top group there.
Yeah, as you say, we're getting some big gaps appearing at the back. I'm just looking. Justin Parkinson is within 7/10 of Oliver Silva, so not really in a position to make too much of a move at the minute, but that could be something that we need to keep an eye on for later on. But just looking at Lewis Bickers and Noah Rivers, I think there's a battle brewing here, if I'm honest. It seems that Bickers is definitely creeping in on the back of Rivers. So yeah, some interesting battles to happen for the latter end of the points to come for sure.
Well, let's take a look at the last lap.
Oh,
there.
just as I say that, I've just gone back to Hemmingson, and I don't know whether he made a mistake, but James Clay was up alongside. He's managed to hold him off, but we did miss that unfortunately. But Clay putting the pressure on, and I don't think it's going to be too long. In fact, no, was Clay ahead of Hemmingson? Sorry. Yeah,
Yes,
so
Clay
so Clay has dropped back from Hemmingson. So there we go. We said it. I didn't think it would take too long. Sorry about the mistake there. But that's Hemmingson. So he's now got just over a second to catch up to Whitehouse. So that's going to be his mission. Obviously on the third step of the podium at the minute, but he'll be hungry for that second place. But can Clay hold off Van Putten and Pinsker? That's going to be the next big battle that we will definitely be keeping an eye on.
So back to that fight that you had also basically framed out for us, Ian, is we had Lewis Bickers on trying to get the 7th position away from Noah Rivers, and Lewis Bickers was actually running a faster lap up until when he caught Noah Rivers. Right now, he's about a 10th off, a little under a 10th off back on his last lap there. But you can definitely see Lewis Bickers is. Let me make sure that that's correct. Yeah, Lewis Bickers is about 0.2 quicker into Sector 1, and I'm sure that that's showing up all throughout the track there as he's just all over the back of Noah Rivers there, and he's just got to be thinking to himself, man, where's my next opportunity going to be? Can I pass him?
It's not going to be long, is it? I'm just watching now as he's closing up on the straight, and you can see Rivers going defensive. Bickers goes to the racing line. So can he get the move done? I'll be impressed if he can do it around the outside, but it's going to give him a much nicer line, but very, very tight. But we're going to be seeing this very soon as he actually goes up the inside now, and he's had to back out slightly. I think that would have been a definite crash, but things heating up now between Bickers and Rivers. So coming towards the end of the lap, will he have an opportunity on the pit straight? I think that's going to be the best bet. Obviously, these long, fast right-handers don't really provide that much unless you've got a lot of ground on your opponent. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lap or two before we see these maximum before we see these two side by side again.
Indeed, and we still have a pit stop upcoming here, so we should be roughly hitting around the time or the window where you would be maybe wanting to think about coming in and making a pit, especially if
Oh, there's
things
contact between Bickers and Rivers. He tried to switch back on him. Rivers went quite defensive into turn one, and there was, yeah, unfortunately Bickers ended up in the side pod of Rivers. Then both cars managing to keep it in a straight line, but yeah, that was quite a nasty moment there for the two drivers.
and that's just too bad. I'm sitting here just looking at the replay a little bit. Yeah, just took a very defensive line, but made one move there, and unfortunately, Bickers just really dove into the inside there. But it seems like both of them can still sort of keep on going. But we will see. We will see what happens there.
I think Bickers has got a good slipstream now on Rivers, but um, Van Eyck is definitely joining into this battle as they go side by side. And can Bickers get the move done now? It's the last of the late breakers.
Oh
And
no! There's some shuffling up at the top of the field. It looks like Ron Van Putten and James Penske have swapped places, and that might have been due to a little contact there. As it's just seeming like we're having these groups of cars in certain speed categories, all fighting throughout.
so that's Hemmingson up to second, Whitehouse third, and Clay, Clay is pitting now. So is he going to be going for that undercut, like you said at the beginning? It can be very, very powerful, but he is in the pits as we speak.
Indeed, and Clay will have to. The good thing is that Clay should be coming out in roughly, well, I would say somewhat semi-clean air. Um, if he can get to where I think he's going to be, yeah, he should be coming out in some pretty clean air. So Clay will definitely have that to his advantage, and that
Yeah,
is going to be
he's
key to basically taking advantage of that early undercut pit stop.
absolutely, yeah. He's got almost a third of a track to himself by the looks of it. So that brings him out into P11. So he's got to get his foot down now, and I should imagine we're going to start seeing some fairly decent sector times from James Clay. This could be a fantastic opportunity for him to get a jump on the others. But he had a little bit of a lock up there, so it just shows how hard he is pushing. So yeah, once the others come in, obviously we will see this unfold.
And he's going to be a little bit of a canary in the coal mine, man. If he starts singing,
Oh,
singing as
sorry,
hard.
we've got Bickers up alongside. Bickers is ahead. So Lewis Bickers takes P6 in a very, very clean move. He moved out. Noah tried to push him out to the side, but left him enough room. But that was all Bickers needed. The move is done. And Liam DeWall is now pitting. He's got a 17-second lead. So I don't think he's got, too much to worry about, if I'm honest.
No, I don't think so as well. Liam probably saw that James Clay came into pit and said, "You know what? That's not a bad idea, especially if you can get some open track."
And just
And
as we say that, we've got Hemmingson, Whitehouse, and Penske all in the pit. So we need to keep our eyes on James Clay now to see whether he has done enough to jump pretty much everybody at this point.
Indeed, Ron Von Putten though now taking control of the lead though, as Liam Duvall will slot in behind him. But I'm got to be thinking that Liam is going to find his way by Van Putten quite quickly there, as James Clay now moves all the way back up to 8th position. So
Just behind
mhm.
Hemmingson. So now it's going to get tasty. I think this is going to be a good battle. They've come out almost nose to tail. So obviously Clay's had a lap on those tyres to sort of get the feel for those new tyres. So maybe advantage him now.
No, I would have to agree. This was the smart maneuver. Once that first person comes into pit, you kind of have to cover what they're going to do to really cover that undercut, unless you have multiple different tires for multiple different strategies, which we do not have here. So this was the correct move by Martin Hemmingson and the rest of the group is to come in as quickly as possible and try to switch off and cover that undercut that James Clay may or may not have going for him. I've got to think he's got it, and we will just see if he's able to mount a charge on Martin Hemmingson here. This will put him in provisional P3 though once pit stops cycle through.
Absolutely. I mean, just looking at Martin Hemmingson, I think for now, he seems to have it covered. He's definitely increased that gap back to James Clay there. So I should imagine when he came out of that pit lane and checked his mirrors and saw James Clay just behind him, he would have had a huge sigh of relief. But Van Putin is in the pits now, so he's gone slightly longer on these tyres. So this might hurt him initially, but he will have the advantage with the tyre wear, obviously, towards the end of the race. But we're just seeing now, because Robin's coming past, here comes Hemmingson, so I think he's going to drop behind Clay for definite. But Whitehouse, is he going to do enough to stay ahead of Whitehouse?
We will have to see.
No, he has not. In fact, he's dropped behind Pinsker as well. So that's put him right back to 7th. Oh no, he's ahead of Pinsker. Sorry, my mistake. So he falls back into 7th. So he's got some work to do now.
Yeah, I've got him. Oh yeah, are we talking about Aranha Van Putten?
Yes.
Yeah, just able to get just in front of James Pinsker there. So yeah, but I got to think he probably had a fight for it going into turn 1. Definitely to keep James Pinsker behind him with all he had, as Pinsker wasn't too far back, probably about 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, a few attempts. It wasn't a lot. But no, Martin Hemmingson is, well, he looks comfortable on these tyres. He's bridged a little bit of a gap now to James Clay. So I think he's got about an 8-9 temps back to James Clay. So at the minute, he is looking rather handy for that second place. Obviously, we've still got Noah Reverse, hasn't pitted yet. And Van Ix, yeah, I'm just looking. They've spaced themselves out now, but I should imagine they'll be pitting any time now.
Now, the other thing to take into account here, strategy-wise, also is if guys are coming out of the pits and they're having to fight a ton with another guy with another driver to keep the position, basically that is going to actually fall into the hands of the cars that still haven't made the pit stops, because they're not going to be able to set the clean, fastest laps, because they're going to be worried about defending their position and losing it from coming into the pit stop. So if Aram Van Putten and George Whitehouse keep fighting, as well as what looks like Danny Robinson, Lewis Bickers keep fighting, it could definitely be very, very interesting when Noah Rivers and Karsten Van Eyck come into the pits, how much time they're going to lose and potentially what they could gain from those fights.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, as I said before, obviously they will have the fresher rubber for the end of the race, which is something always handy. But we've got a crash. We have got a crash. I'm just trying to see who was involved there.
Justin Parkinson.
Was it Parkinson? Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, I missed that completely. I just saw it happen at the top of my screen. But yeah, we'll see whether we can get a bit more information on that in a minute. But yeah, Liam DeWalt, do we need to mention him anymore? He's just out there driving away quite happily. He's effectively got a 20-second lead back to Hemmingson, who at the minute he's built himself up a nice 1-second cushion to Clay, and then Whitehouse and Van Putten are, well, they're there just ready to pounce. So I don't think the action's over yet, not by a long shot. Still plenty more to come, I should imagine, from these 3 or 4 drivers.
Indeed, looks like we might be able to get a replay of what happened to Justin Parkinson, perhaps. Yeah, I think it was. We actually had that call completely wrong. It wasn't Justin Parkinson. He'd come into the pits. As we do have Karsten Van Eyck into the pits now for his scheduled stop. It was actually Reinder Henstra who actually had that crash. So sorry to Justin Parkinson fans out there.
We have got Whitehouse and Clay, side by side. Those two have got incredibly close, incredibly quickly. And Clay is all over the back of Hemmingson, and Van Putten is not far off. They were literally side by side out of turns 1 through turns 2, but they've settled back now. Sorry to cut you off there.
No problem. And if we take a look at what happened here. Karsten Van Eyck able to stay out a little bit longer, and he's now slotted into P8. He was behind Lewis Bickers and Danny Robbins, but being able to stay out a little bit longer and be able to maximize the amount of clean air running time to basically the gap that he would lose or the time that he would lose on very worn tires, he's been able to actually leapfrog those two guys right there, and that is huge.
Great strategy call then, as Clay has a look at Whitehouse. He got a little bit out of shape on the curb there. Oh, and just as I say that, it's Clay and Van Putten side by side. So who's going to come out on top of that one? Van Putten on the outside, so it would be a tall order for him to do so. But we've now got Pinsker joining in at the back. These 3 or 4 cars here having a great battle, and it's allowing the ones behind to really close in. So it's all action now. It's was that Whitehouse running very, very wide, coming just before the last corner, not lost a lot of time by the look of it. But Hemmingson now going past Noah Rivers, who he still hasn't stopped yet, I don't think. So
No,
his
Noah
tires
hasn't.
and
Noah hasn't, and he is very he just got passed by Martin Hemmingson actually. So Noah's going to need to stop. I think he stayed out a little bit too long. I think if he would have come in at the same time Karsten Van Eyck came in, it would have been a coup for him. But unfortunately, Noah just not with the strategy on that one.
And really getting in the way of George Whitehouse now. I should imagine that George is absolutely furious and very surprised to see him there. But as we come up to the hairpin now, Whitehouse goes up the inside. Yeah, Rivers not really fighting that one, but Clay needs to get past because he has got Van Putten and Pinsker all over the back of him, and I think he's just about passing. No, has Rivers gone back past Whitehouse? Yes, he has. So actually fighting George Whitehouse there, but Whitehouse comes out on top there for now. But yeah, James Clay will be hoping that he gets, well, preferably pits, as up the inside goes Van Putten, but no, he can't make the move stick. I don't know if there was contact there. I don't think there was, but it was very, very close. But yeah, Rivers really, really getting in the way of these top runners at the minute.
Yeah, Rivers is going for that all-inclusive no-stop strategy. It's going to be definitely interesting to see where he slots out in that. But yeah, it's definitely playing havoc with our front runners here of George Whitehouse, James Clay, and Aram Van Putten, as Martin Hemmingson sets his best lap time of a 1:46.8. But still about 24 seconds back of our leader, Liam Duvall. We'll run you down the field here real quick after most of the pit stops and everything have done. We have Liam Duvall in first place, Martin Hemmingson in second, George Whitehouse in third, Noah Rivers in fourth. So he's been able to still solidify that fourth place. James Clay in fifth, Aran Van Putten in sixth, James Pinsker seventh.
Clay has hit the back of Rivers and has gone spearing off the track. James Clay dropped back down to seventh now, and a lot of time lost. He was trying to follow Rivers very closely. I think he'd forgotten about the grip deficit there and just caught the back of him, and he went spinning off in dramatic fashion, obviously keeping it out of the barriers because, like we said, the runoffs here are very, very forgiving. But he's going to have to really, really get his foot down now, but he will be furious.
Yeah, that S's section there as you're coming through here in COTA is very, very difficult. And yeah, if you have any sort of disparity between grip and or power or even some of the aero differences that these cars will have.
Oh, and sorry, Pinsker up to fourth as Van Putten, as Clay, Rivers, I'll get there in a minute, runs very, very wide. So that changes everything. Pinsker up to fourth, Van Putten still absolutely laminated almost to the back of his car. So yeah, Rivers really, really, yeah, as we predicted, causing absolute mayhem here. But James Clay isn't far off the back of him, so he's recovering very, very well at this point.
Yes, and actually, that James Clay is probably going to be having a deja vu moment coming up. Is like, oh, I have to get by him again. Oh, good God.
I think he's going to be very, very nervous going through the S's.
Well, hopefully he can make a maneuver on the front stretch that'll really solidify that position before they get to the S's. Because I always like to tell people, the S's, if you're trying to pass somebody in the S's, that is a low percentage maneuver with a low reward yield there. You are never usually going to make it work, and is usually going to end up a lot worse. So best to back out of there and then take it on the back stretch, as that place has more than ample opportunity to get by. Um, but as we take another look through the field, Karsten Van Eyck has fallen from his 8th position, has been passed by Lubomir Nice, and fallen back to P9. So Lubomir Nice up to P8 there, but he still was able to leapfrog by doing an overcut on Danny Robbins and Lewis Bickers. So that has been very interesting to see. The best of the second half of the field, we want to talk about them a little bit. Simon Marshall leading in, well, not leading, but heading that up in P12. Simon Clavison in P13, Justin Parkinson P14, Oliver Silva P15, Rodrigo Carvalho in P16, Denis Eshenko in P17, and Nikos Anastasopoulos in P18. Those are your cars running. Oliver Silva and Cavallo are one lap down, and Eshenko and Anastopoulos.
You're doing a better job than what I would.
He's running 2 laps down right now. Out of the race are Alejandro Enamorado, Reinder Henstra, Justin Wobelov, and Jan Pollock.
So going back to Arjen van Putten in 5th and James Pinsker in 4th. This is the closest battle on track at the minute. The two cars separated by about 2/10, as we see Whitehouse actually running very, very wide again. And that's actually dropped him back into the clutches of Pinsker. So, yeah, we're back to this. And Whitehouse pulling over. No, it's not Whitehouse. Sorry, I do apologize. It's back marker. Getting myself all confused. But no, Pinsker and Putten, absolute nose to tail again. I don't think Van Putten is close enough on this straight to really do too much. Obviously, the slipstream is fairly useful, but you've got to be a little bit closer than what he is now. But again, I think these two are going to be pretty much level pecking to the end. It's going to be interesting to see which one of these two can come out on top for that 4th place.
Indeed, yeah, you're going to need to be a little bit more closer than what Aran Van Putten definitely is. Usually about 3/10 to about 2/10 down that backstretch, and you're able to really sit in that slipstream and gain maximum advantage to get by. But definitely looking at lap times, though, some of the fastest guys right now are Aran Van Putten and Martin Hemmingsen, running 1:47.1s right now and doing a great job of being some of the fastest guys out there. We're also getting some really fast laps from Lewis Bickers, a 1:47.25, and Christian Van Eyck is 1:47.3, also running really well. And James Clay as well with a that's a 1:48.25. Still a good lap from James, but a little bit too slow right there. As Noah Rivers laps times, as I still don't believe he's come in for a pit stop yet. He's running a 1:51 flat right now, and that's just not going to get it done, unfortunately. Here, he's probably going to be falling even further back into the clutches of a lot of these mid-pack runners, such as Lubomir Nice and Karsten Van Eyck.
Pinsker again, he seems to be really suffering with the old pressure bug there, because I'm seeing him keep running wide as Putten has a little look again, just showing his nose, trying to psych Pinsker into a mistake there, I think. But I think Van Putten is aware that Pinsker seems to be a little bit sloppy in some of the corners at the minute, so he's just trying to show his nose and try and force Pinsker into a mistake. But I'm quite surprised. I expected James Clay to be on the back of these guys, which at the minute he's fallen right back. So I don't know, perhaps whether there was some issue there with the incident, or whether he's just lost his head a little bit.
Potentially, we did see James Clay once he got the new set of tires on, really excel, especially in the beginning of the race when he had sort of that fresh rubber, really excel. But he did seem to fall back a little bit farther, a little bit farther, a little bit farther. So it may just be coming to grips with the lack of grip, so to speak, on these worn tires that James is having an issue with.
So at the front, of course, we have Liam DeWall. He's got a 27.8 second lead. I feel he could have more, but he doesn't need to. He's cruising there at the front. He's done a fantastic job, obviously, through qualifying, and don't want to give him commentator's curse, but through the race so far, he's been absolutely untouchable. But Martin Hemmingson in second place, Whitehouse in third, and then, of course, as we were just speaking about, Pinsker and Putin in fourth and fifth. But yeah, they just seem to be trading times at the minute. Pinsker and Putin, wherever Putin seems to get a bit of an advantage and get a bit closer to Pinsker, he's able to pull it back out at a different part of the track. So these two at the minute, very, very level, very equally matched. But Pinsker seems to have tidied up his driving a little bit. I think like I said, he was suffering from a bit of pressure there with Putin all over the back of him. But he seems to have got his head down now, driving a little bit more consistently. So that's not really given Van Putin the opportunities and chances that he needs.
No, agreed. And another battle that I want to actually just occurred, and it's no longer a battle right now, is Karsten Van Eyck was able to get by Lubomir Nice for P8. So Karsten Van Eyck, who made the latest stop out of anybody, unless Noah Rivers comes in. Karsten Van Eyck has the freshest rubber out there, so he'll be able to push longer and harder. Well, not longer, but harder than anybody else out there on this set of tires. And he's going to be setting his sights now on the man who hasn't yet come into pit, and that's Noah Rivers. And we will see how long it'll take for Karsten Van Eyck, who's about 4 seconds behind Noah, how long it'll take him to reel Noah in.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, that gap is going to be decreasing fairly quickly, obviously alone with the age or the tyre difference of age between these two. But you can just see, I've just been watching Rivers, the confidence. So Pinsker and Putin, there has been some contact. Sorry to just cut away from that. We can see Van Putin is in fifth place and he's definitely dropped back. So yeah, I weren't able to see that one. I'm sure we'll probably be able to get a replay up of that. But Pinsker is now all over the back of George Whitehouse. So another battle unfolding. Indeed.
We've had Putin has just been able to, he's just about 2
Oh, he's gone up the
quicker.
inside of Whitehouse. They're side by side, but again, we're into this long right-hander section at the end of the track. And I tell you what, they are absolutely nose to tail. I think Pinsker's going to get the move on Whitehouse very, very soon. We'll just stick with this for a second as they come into the final corner and see whether he can do anything up the pitch straight. But he's definitely got the pace over Whitehouse, and much better exit, much closer. He seems to carry a lot more speed through the apex, and Whitehouse knows it as he goes defensive up the pitch straight. But Pinsker is right there. So is he going to try and find a way? He's going to have to switch back to the racing line. Can he get round the outside? It's late on the brakes, and I tell you what, it's a beautiful move by Pinsker to go round the outside of George Whitehouse into turn one, who is immediately now put under even more pressure from Putin, and there was almost a bit of contact there between Whitehouse and Pinsker. So we're going to switch to Putin now, who has just watched that move unfold, and will definitely be foaming at the mouth for the chance of fourth place. But as they come through the S's and the twisty bits now, it looks like he's going to go up alongside already as we go into the hairpin before the big straight, and there's a little bit of contact, a little bit of tyre bang in there, but Putin's turned in very late there, but he's got the move done. And unfortunately for George Whitehouse, he has seen third, fourth, and now down to fifth place in almost as many corners.
Indeed, and we're going to actually need to go to the lead of the race as we are now on the last lap. So we're going to ride along here.
Oh, there's contact between Whitehouse and Putin. Sorry to jump in. Putin tried to go. Whitehouse tried to go for a move, and the two came together. And unfortunately, that's Putin dropped back down to fifth. So Whitehouse there, very aggressive, and yeah, unfortunate for the two drivers there. But sorry, pass back over to you.
Oh no. As Liam Duvall right now, crossed the well, he should have crossed the finish line right now as the leader of the race and won this round of the ACR ISI MRS Academy Series presented by
He's still got half a
GPVWC.
lap to
Oh,
go
he still has half a
on my
lap.
screen.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just coming on to the DRS straight now, so not
Well,
long for him to go ahead and take that win.
well, a foregone conclusion though. But yeah, we'll, uh, we'll we'll definitely have to switch back then. As yeah, we'll stay with this lap or this battle here between George Whitehouse and Aram Van Putten. As it is money time right now. So we are definitely as it looks like Iran has been able to make that maneuver as well. And it's money time right now. And anybody who's going to want to make maneuvers, now is going to be the time that you're going to need to do it.
Van Putten is almost pushing Whitehouse through the S's at the start of the lap, but the gap is non-existent as he goes up the inside of Whitehouse now. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has, but will Whitehouse be able to respond up the straight? He tucks into the slipstream. He's going to keep it nice and close now, so maybe Whitehouse was sort of letting him have that position. He didn't seem to fight it, knowing that he'd have the advantage up the straight, but it's very, very close as they step out. Can Whitehouse get up the inside? Contact again, but Van Putten doesn't go round this time, and he stays ahead. So that was crucial, because now, at this point of the lap, I don't see anywhere sensibly that Whitehouse can get back past Van Putten. So he could have just cemented his fourth place.
Indeed, that pass on the straight is definitely going to be a huge deal right there. As we will duck in real quick to say congratulations to Liam Duvall, who has won this first round here of the Academy Series. As we're waiting for Martin Hemmingson to come across the line as well. But we're going to go back to this battle right here between Aram Van Putten and George Whitehouse.
I think they've just crossed the line. So there was.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I think once Putin had that move done on Whitehouse, yeah, just dropped back. He definitely didn't have the pace that Van Putten did at the end of this race.
Indeed, Sector 3 is so tough to actually get a pass done that once that pass was done on the backstretch, Aram Van Putten basically had it signed, sealed, and delivered.
Absolutely intense there towards the end of the Grand Prix. We were blessed with a very, very good race this time out. There was action the whole way through and some absolutely phenomenal driving from some of the guys out there. A few little clumsy moves, but you know, the action's been there. And yeah, Liam Dewar, again, congratulations to him, an absolute league of his own.
Indeed, and we've got some comments on David Yunt definitely saying, was an interesting race though, and yes, it was. Pretty clean race for an Academy race from some of the ones that we've seen in the past. So definitely happy with the driver effort and racecraft shown by these guys today. Obviously, having a Super League driver in the ranks definitely boosts the boosts the level of competition. But all in all, I think all these drivers showed their best foot forward, so to speak, and did a great job here today.
Absolutely. Again, having somebody like Liam in this race just, you know, gave everybody else that sort of target and that benchmark, and they've all really excelled themselves, to be honest. Like you say, for an Academy race, it was incredibly clean. We've had some great side-by-side action, and as I was saying at the beginning, one of the things I was very interested to see was the respect the drivers have for each other, and we really saw that out there today. A lot of them going will to will, and still having the decency and respect for each other, which is honestly really, really great to see.
And I'm guessing Garrett, as this is my first Academy race as well, we are probably not going to be doing any interviews unless people really want to. But yeah, we won't be doing any interviews. But yeah, so we've concluded our first round here of the ACR ISI iSimRS Academy Series presented by GPVWC. So yeah, it's been a great race. Ian, any like word to sum up how your first race, especially in the broadcast booth, went?
Yeah, an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me here. And yeah, again, incredible racing today. It's been a hell of an experience, if I'm honest. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Talking to everybody beforehand, obviously working with you here. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And I look forward to doing many more.
Wonderful. Well, we always need more people involved. And if you'd like to get involved with GPVWC, just head over to gpvwc.com and hop into the forums, create an account, sign up, get involved. Anything from disciplinary committee to social media to even broadcasting to obviously driving if that's what tickles your fancy. So just get involved and get involved with this community. It's an open, or it's a very welcoming community and a very open community for any issues that you may have or need to tackle in your sim racing career. So for myself, for Ian Berryman, and for the wonderful Garrett DeVries, who's been on cameras and helping us with information throughout the race.
Stunning job from Garrett. Yep.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken, for another Academy Series race at about 7:30 GMT. We'll see you there.
See you then, guys. The FSIM 2.0 features a nose on a sliding rail for on-the-go adjustment, a newly introduced fully adjustable headrest for your comfort. The wheel and pedal boards are fully adjustable, making sure they fit you perfectly and are pre-drilled for all of the latest hardware. The cockpit supports up to triple screen monitor setups without the worry of wobble or vibration. The FSIM 2.0 puts you in the Formula Racing position for that unique driving experience. Head over to iSimRS.com to find out more and pre-order now and get £100 off of the recommended retail price. Only available at iSimRS.com.